be hard on the woman. Maybe he hates one manner, one ethic, one side of the woman, but then there are many different sides that he may like and he may love. So it is very important, all of this, to say that our nature is different, our focus is different. Rather than make this a point of friction, rather than make this a point of departure, let's make it a point of meeting, a point of completion, a point of coming together, a point of living together according to what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would like for us to do. And that's why we say, remember that the woman is created from you, she's part of you. And with that, if we remember that, then if we say something bad to our spouses, then we are saying something bad to ourselves. It is very important that we realize these things, inshallah. And remember again that we need to nurture this affection. We need to build it. We need to work on it. Some people think that, you get married and, if you're okay for a year, for a few months, then your whole life is okay. No, sometimes you have to work on your marriage even after 20 years. You find people after 20 years having some conflicts, arguing maybe about the same thing that they argued about when they got married. Subhanallah. This is one thing that to say to you, brothers and sisters, don't try to change your wife. You need to focus on the good side of your wife and try to enhance it, try to boost that part. Because if you try to change, to change her, you think she changed. And then you get a conflict. And she tells you everything that has ever happened from the day you met. Everything, they don't forget. MashaAllah. So it is better for us to understand that we need to forgive. This is not in any way, to say, again, please understand. We need to understand that, so that way we say, don't try to change them because that's their nature. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created them this way. And sisters, don't try to change your husband either, because it's very hard. The husband will also be the same. Now we make a lot of compromises, but let's call them positive compromises. They're important. They are needed in any relationship, but you do not have to say, well, I want my wife to change, or the wife will say, I want my husband to change. Because change is very, very difficult. A lot of times what we are asking to change is our genes, and that's impossible. You want the woman not to look at the details. It cannot happen. The woman will always look at the details. And the man, in general, of course, right? There are women who will talk about the general picture. There are a lot of men, or many men, who are interested in details. But I'm talking about the overall picture, so that we make our lives, inshallah, better. So look at your wife and see the positive sides of her, and please try to grow those, try to improve those. And whenever you see something you don't like, ignore it, forgive it, don't talk about it too much. And the same thing for the woman. Your husband most likely has a good, many good things, many good qualities. Focus on those good qualities instead of just always mention one thing that is one of his weaknesses, and every time you have conflict, you remind him of that same thing. It's not, a good aspect in terms of relationships to improve and to get the better of each person. So this is, I put more responsibility now on men than on women, because it seems that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave this responsibility to men. الرِّجَالُ قَوَّامُونَ عَلَى النِّسَاءِ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in the Quran that men are the head of the household. This is not an honor, this is responsibility. Some people think it's an honor, so they behave as dictators. They say, we give orders, the wife should follow what we say. It doesn't work that way. You should run your affairs in consultation. وَأَمْرُهُمْ شُورَى بَيْنَهُمْ. This is a very general verse in the Quran, that Muslims in general conduct their affairs in shura, in consultation. And what's more important in terms of consultation than the first, part of the society, which is the family, to run your affairs in consultation with your family, and inshallah you will get the best. Now, the last thing is that remember for both men and women that what you do is for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Remember that. It is very important. You don't want your reward from your husband. You do not want your reward from your wife. What you need is, or what you want is, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is pleased with you. Of course, you are pleasing also your spouse in the process, right? It's very important. But at the same time, many of us may be thinking, okay, I do it for the sake of Allah, so I in a way we say, okay, I'm only doing it for the sake of Allah. I remind my wife all the time, I'm doing it for the sake of Allah. As if she's no good, and all I'm doing is for the sake of Allah because she's no good. Or the wife will say, I'm only with you because I do not want to break up this family. I'm only here for the sake of the children. I'm only here. Don't do that, because this will destroy the family. This will destroy the peace and harmony of the family. You keep it inside of you and say, oh Allah, I'm doing it for your sake. I'm trying to compromise so that you are pleased and this family is moving forward and this family is sound and good, inshallah ta'ala. So it's very important. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala calls it al-man. As Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in the Quran, يَا أَيُّهَا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا لَا تُبْطِلُوا صَدَقَاتِكُمْ بِالْمَنِّ وَالْأَذَى. Those who you believe, do not eventually destroy your or render void your sadaqat by saying, oh, remember this, remember that, I gave you this sadaqah, I did this for you, I did that for you. Don't do that. Do not do that. Do it for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and say, oh Allah, I want the reward from you only. And lastly here, in terms of the strengthening the family, inshallah, a lot of the problems in the family come because of anger. A lot of people just react. Some people are quick to say things, and this will destroy the family. I've seen many, especially young couples, but it's true of all couples, of all families, in fact, that we get angry and we say things when we are angry. We may not mean, sometimes we mean them, but a lot of times because we are not in control. So when a man came to the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said to him, give me an advice. And he said to him, the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam said to him, لا تغضب. He said to him, do not get angry. Do not get angry. We need to learn how to control our anger. And the other hadith, the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam says, ليس الشديد بالسرعة إنما الشديد الذي يملك نفسه عند الغضب. The strong man, and we're talking about the strong mu'min, the strong believer, the strong person is the one who is not the one who reacts. The strong person is the one who controls his anger. And with that, it is very important to control ourselves. And there are some mechanisms that Islamically, advised. For instance, when you get angry, it's a good idea to make wudu, because anger comes from shaitan, and shaitan is created from fire, and water extinguishes fire. So it's very important, inshallah, to cool yourself down. You cool yourself physically and mentally that way. Also, if you are arguing and you are standing up, sit down. Sit down. It becomes much more difficult for you to be, moving your hands in all directions and expressing your anger. So just sit down. If you sat down and you're still very angry, then you just lie on the floor. Lie on the floor. That way, no matter what you do not do a lot of harm, inshallah. So let's learn those things, inshallah, from our deen. And let us control our anger. Let us work hard on the family. And remember, all of this, we do it for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in the Quran that we are created to worship Him. And we worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in all capacities and at all times. And doing good inside of our family is very, very important. So please, brothers, if you are, one of those who get angry fast, try some of those prescriptions, and inshallah they will work for you. Allah will reward you. And always make dua for yourself and for your spouse. You make dua for your spouse that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make things easy on you. You make dua for your spouse that Allah subhanahu